you. So we will move to the discussion cases. Get myself in order here. So we will have number 3, rezoning, presentation from staff on Merle single family.
Chair, Commission Liaison, so we'll first hear from the applicant for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Should be a presentation. Last slide, right? Last slide.
Chair, members of the commission, after the last time we were here for this case, we looked at the impacts of compatibility that's triggered by the property. There should be another one after that. Before that, I'm sorry. Yes, that one. And you can see the subject property in green. The other properties that trigger compatibility are shown as compatibility triggering properties. And you can see there's one that's already to the north because it is being used as single family. And so the fine dashed lines show the gradation of compatibility extending away from what is existing, the existing single-family home on the north. And with 4407 Merle being zoned as single-family, all of the compatibility buffers are already absorbed inside of the existing compatibility buffer. So there's not any additional compatibility triggered on the commercial properties. And with that, I'm available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll now hear from the opposition, Ms. Ware. Ms. Ware, you'll have 2 minutes.
Again, my name's Catherine Weir, and I live kitty corner to the house in question, property in question. I live at 4410 Merle. I'm a babe in the woods at this. I don't know what upcode and downcode and the compatibility waivers are. I am an expert in seeing lot after lot in my neighborhood gobbled up by speculators who want to make as much money as they can off of every one of those lots. This is not just a cranky old lady attitude. I had a young lady from Brighton, which is a little deeper in Southwood, stop by my house randomly Saturday looking for a kitten. And her comment was she's 20-something grown up in that neighborhood. She said it's so disheartening to see lot after lot, house after house torn down and big ugly things built there. It is also disturbing to know that people who have lived in the neighborhood for decades, paid taxes for decades, voted for decades, participated in Austin city life for decades are expected to just sit and watch the dissolution of our neighborhoods.
Chair, that concludes the speakers. This item is available for deliberation vote.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Ms. Weir. So we have had Q&A on this already, and the public hearing is closed. So if we want to have discussion, we'll need a motion in a second.
Chair, I have a quick question for the applicant.
Okay.
Thank you. Hey, Mr. Thrower, I think you're up there.
Yes.
I think last time we talked, and staff, feel free to throw a book at me if I'm asking anything I'm not allowed to ask, but I thought we had chatted about potentially some kind of, I think you were going to check in with your client to see if your client was willing to not have the new zoning of your property trigger compatibility, because today it doesn't, and then in the future it would, if that property to the north of yours, if that single family use was to go away tomorrow, which it could be an office again tomorrow, and therefore you would then trigger new amounts of compatibility to your north. So where did that conversation go?
Mr. Thrower, before you answer, we had already had Q&A at the last meeting. And so for further discussion and questions, Commissioner Anderson, we would need a motion. that correct, Mr. Rivera?
Chair Commission Liaison Andver, so if you wish to modify your rules, if you just want to provide the stipulations of how many questions and how many commissioners, it sounds like the commission is wanting to do so.
Okay.
I-
Commissioner Thompson.
I'll move that we allow 3 more questions, 3 minutes each.
Noted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
We need a vote? We need a vote?
sorry.
Seconded by Commissioner Azar. Vote in the chambers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Online, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 10-0. So we will continue with the Q&A for 3 questions, additional questions at 3 minutes each. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Anderson, in regards to that, I think there's a level of complexity that still needs to be looked at is to not oppose compatibility, then the question is how is that enforced? Is it a restricted covenant? It would have to be a private restricted covenant. Who's going to be the other party associated with that? Would it be just that one landowner that's to the north? Would it be a neighborhood association? Would it be the commercial properties? And again, it's a complex issue that we've not ever addressed moving forward with a rezoning or even, working on a site plan that we have compatibility being triggered on. So I'm not going to say that our client is unwilling to do it. It's just we got to figure out the logistics to make something like that happen.
Thank you. And can I ask a quick question of staff? So we hear that we have an applicant here who wants a certain development on this property, and they don't necessarily seem excited about triggering compatibility in the future. Is there an easy option for anybody in Austin to say, I give up the right to trigger compatibility? It's not something I'm wanting to do.
This is Wendy Rose with the Housing and Planning Department. And that could be done by, if compatibility was triggered in the future, the owner of this particular lot could submit correspondence stating that they don't object to a waiver of compatibility.
And then it would still take the process of a commission or a board to then grant that variance from compatibility?
Yes, that's correct.
So I understand that there's some TODs in Austin. I know they're all different. They're all hodgepodge. It's half our problem in the city, right? But there's some that you can get 66% of the property owners to sign a letter waiving it. And then the applicant's done with it. It doesn't actually require anybody else at the city to do anything other than verify that those property owners were the ones that signed that letter. Is there anything like that outside of those TODs?
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar enough with that process.
Gotcha. I guess I just find it interesting that we, when all the consultants were here from all over America looking at our very outdated land development code, they pretty much all commented on the fact that compatibility costs us more homes than anything else. It's just pretty interesting that there's not an easy mechanism for folks who willingly want to not trigger it to be able to do so. I guess that's just a good conversation for us to continue thinking through in our heads as we're about to look at compatibility in a few weeks. Thank you.
Anyone else have questions? We have 2 more slots open. Commissioner Yanis Pulido?
Yes, question for the applicant. And I'll apologize in advance since I was not present at the last meeting, but I am curious about the square footage of these units.
This area is going to be subject to the McMansion ordinance, so it's going to be limited to 0.4 to 1 FAR. The actual size of the units, the ADU is going to be limited to 1,100 square feet, and the balance of the allowable square footage could be put into the principal residence. And the size, I don't know the size of the property off the top of my head, but if you want exact numbers, we can get that for you.
No, I was just curious. And how many units total? I'm sorry.
There would only be 2 units allowed.
Okay, the principal and the ADU.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other commissioners? would need to entertain a motion to have further discussion.
I'll move to recommend staff's recommendation, or staff's, but also to, can I do this, to recommend that the applicant come with a private restrictive covenant to council? No? Okay. I'll recommend staff's recommendation.
Second. Second by Cox. All right, so we have a motion on the table from Commissioner Thompson with a second by Commissioner Cox. Would you like to speak to your motion?
I am, disturbed that in a time of sort of a housing crisis, we're kind of down zoning this to, zone it basically as a luxury one-plex. An ADU, I guess. And I wish we had better tools and better options. That, my guess is that if it were easy to build a fourplex, the owner would build a fourplex there. But it's, to have to go through the trouble of a site plan and the complexity there, and to be limited by compatibility, that, this is the only sort of profitable option for them, is to build a mansion. And I'm sort of disappointed with that. But at the same time, it's a housing crisis, and we need everything we can get, so.
All right, thank you. Do we have any commissioners speaking against? Anyone else would like to speak for? All right, are y'all?
I'll speak neutrally.
Giannis, go ahead.
I'll speak neutrally if I can, just really quick.
Okay,
I'll echo the sentiments of other commissioners and just say that while I am interested in seeing additional tools, I also understand that there are market forces here. And unfortunately, whether you like it or not, there is a demand for this kind of development. It's not what I would like to see necessarily, but I think that that's something to keep in mind as well, is the market demand.
thank you. All right, any other commissioners want to speak for or against?
I'd like to briefly speak for,
Go ahead, Commissioner
reluctantly
Anderson.
maybe. I agree 100% with what Commissioner Carmen Yanis Politis just shared, and that is just the market forces and what the market's trying to build and what people in Austin want, and then extreme limitations of our land development code that don't allow for what most of the market wants right now. We allow for 1 and 2 homes to take over the vast majority of the city, and we limit it to the highest of income earners that can afford that type of housing. And we don't open up those neighborhoods to middle income earners who can pull their resources together, and 4 of them or 6 of them can also buy into those neighborhoods and build a 4-plex or a 6-plex. Our land development code is making positively sure that we are going to displace a lot of people in this city, and it's going to continue to do so. And it's devastating. It's just unbelievably devastating. I think most of you know my daytime is with Austin Habitat for Humanity. We received one of the most beautiful letters I've ever read in my entire life this week. And it just talked about the unbelievable heartache that this family has had to go through for the past 20 years. And she has children, and they've had to move, 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 and they've had to live with multiple families, breaking our occupancy limits, but they do what they have to survive. And we make it so difficult for people to just live here affordably. And my hope is one day we are less afraid of bigger and taller buildings than we are of unaffordability and displacement.
Thank you. We still have some slots for anyone who wants to speak for or against. All right. Shall we take a vote then? All right. The motion, again, on the table is staff recommendation from Commissioner Thompson and seconded by Commissioner Cox. So on the dais, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got 4. Thompson. Mhm. Please. And a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 online, and then 1 abstention. Yeah. So that passes 901. Okay,
Thank you, commissioners, and this case, as information, is scheduled for the 3rd of November at City Council. Thank you.
thank you. All right. We shall move on to the next discussion case. Thank you for coming. So,